So welcome to the Competella Contact Center introduction webinar, which is aiming to take around 30 minutes. And we urge you all to actually remember to mute your phone, and all the questions you have, please send them in the chat. As the session is recorded, we will send it to you after the session. Also, it's good to know that we might have some questions in the end, and those might take a bit longer time. And then we maybe will have more than 30 minutes to total time. Okay, Lars, change the picture, please. So what is my name? My name is Sofia Svensson, and I'm welcoming you to this webinar. It's an introduction webinar, so it's not going deep down on technical things, but of course you can ask that later on. With me, I have a speaker, Lars Fredstedt. He's the head of sales in Western Europe, and he's going to do the main part of the presentation. So beep, Lars. So the picture didn't change for me, so I'm changing mine. So the agenda then. The agenda for today is that Lars will present a bit on Competella, who we are and what we do. And he will also give a solutions overview of the solution Competella has. It will be a live demo, which is going to take the main part of this, where we will see a 360-degree overview in live operation, and a bit more about how to optimize the customer service, as you know a bit more of the customer's journey. We will go through the roadmap, what has been released, and some of the things that we will release. We will also talk about the benefits of the Competella Contact Center solution for Teams. And as said before, we will have a Q&A in the end, so please send in the questions in the chat. Also, I will in the chat send in a link to a form survey, so please fill that in with suggestions on what we can improve, etc., or if you want some more information. So, next picture, Lars.
Yes, thank you very much, Sophia, for that good introduction, and a very welcome to all of you listening in to our webinar today. So who is Competella? Well, Competella is a Microsoft independent software vendor who has been on the market now for almost 13 years. And we have, since we were founded, been focusing completely on the Microsoft Unified Communications solution and integrating and filling in the gaps for the areas of contact center and attendant console, and that's due to that Microsoft do not deliver these type of solutions themselves. Back in 2020, we released our software as a service platform for Microsoft Teams, and with that we also offer professional services and of course support, as well as training for both customers and partners. Our SaaS-based solutions are located in the Microsoft Azure data center region, Western Europe. So it's a secure solution with all that is required to deliver this from a cloud. And we have customers today in many countries, just around 700 of them, with about 680,000 people involved in using it. We go to market primarily through our partners, and through our partners we have a global outreach. When you look at the Competella Communication Suite for Teams at a glance, then our unified suite, what it offers is, for instance, the Competella Contact Center Enterprise, which is our high-end contact center that offers a 360-degree overview for agents, so they get all the valuable information that they require to do the live operation and handling customers and providing as good a customer service as we are able to do with that. And of course it has a lot of other features, including statistics. So I will be speaking mostly about the Contact Center Enterprise today. Our other solutions, the Competella Contact Center Workgroup, is an advanced hunt group solution that typically replaces the Teams call groups. Companies choosing this solution are typically looking for the access to rich statistics, historical statistics, good and real-time monitoring of what's going on in the different queues, and also an ability to provide this functionality for agents that are not necessarily a Teams user, but could also just be a simple GSM mobile phone user that acts as a member with the Competella Contact Center work group. Our attendant console, which was probably the starting point for Competella almost 13 years ago, is a super tool for receptionists to handle calls, typically from the main number from a queue, providing an excellent search tool to search either skills, departments, or persons, see the availability of those, and doing a professional transfer or taking a message and send an email, for instance, through the interface, or for that matter, doing it through a Teams chat. So these three major product lines are our unified communication suite for Teams. I'll now move over to do the live demo of the Competella Contact Center Enterprise for Teams. So what you will see in a second is the agent interface. In order to log in with that, the agent needs also to be logged in to Microsoft Teams in the background. So this is where all the calls are going on in the background. Olivia Green, my demo agent, is currently logged in and available. She can, of course, go into pause mode should that be required, for instance, for a break or similar. She has the possibility to do some changes in the look and the feel of the agent application. She has the ability also to manipulate, meaning choose which number that she will be showing if she dials out from this application through Teams. So the idea being that instead of you show your own private number, your own private Teams number, you show the queue number that you are actually dialing from, so that if customers should call back, if you don't reach them, then they will dial back to the queue. And that gives you, of course, the best overview. On here in the top, I have some squares. These squares, they represent the different queues that Olivia Green is a member of. The green dots indicates that the queue is open. The 0 indicates how many calls are waiting. And then we have a number 1 here, which says how many agents are currently logged onto that particular queue. As Olivia Green is a supervisor, she has the ability also both to close the queue, she can call the queue, she can transfer to other queues when she has a call. Should a call come in to the wrong one, then she has a solution for that. Olivia, being a supervisor, also has the ability to change the agent status of the other agents, so that if, for instance, you are in a busy period, then she has the ability to log in further agents. In this case, I was actually putting them into pause mode, because then I know that when we start doing some calls soon, that it will come into to me. So the 360-degree overview consists of a good overview of the queues in the top. It consists of having a solid real-time overview of the other agents that are part of the queues. It gives we have an overview of the incoming calls, which I'll show very soon. They will come into a list. I have some calls overview of outgoing and parked calls, and then of course when the call comes in, which is even more important, I have a full overview of the ongoing call that I'm handling, and it also will come with some history about other calls that have come in from this particular caller, if the caller is recognized. I can monitor, for instance, some subject matter experts. So if I do transferring of calls to subject matter experts during operation, then I can see what their current status is and so on. Should I have more subject matter experts, then I have the ability to search in the directory and see who is currently available. And from there, I can also both, of course, put a call on hold and contact them, a subject matter expert, should I need some help for that. So what I'll do now is to place a couple of calls to the queue. So they will start coming.
We cannot hear you now, Lars.
Yes, thank you
now
for
we hear you
that.
again.
Now you hear me.
Yes.
Sorry for that. That was as usual when mistakes are done. It was a user mistake. So what I did was I placed a call. I answered it, and right now I'm now speaking to this phone number coming from the queue, support English. Should I have the requirement, for instance, to transfer the call during my my call, then I can do it, for instance, directly from here, and then actually the call is already on the way to the subject matter expert, being Max Lemon. What I have now is that I'm being prompted to put in a wrap-up code. So this is a reason, a subject of the call that I just had, and I also have the ability to write some free text, which are then visible to other agents later when calls come in. So I could write here agent's conversation, for instance. So we save this call. What I'll do now is to place another call coming in from here. So we receive the call. It comes in. I get the information again about which queue it came from. And furthermore, if I would like to see deeper information on this particular caller, then I have the ability to go into the call log, and then I will see all the calls that came in previously from this particular caller. Should I require, for instance, to park this call because maybe I can see that I have a VIP call waiting, then I can do so, put in the wrap-up code, save it, and then the next call will be offered to me as an agent as soon as my wrap-up time is over. Then I have the new call in handling that. Could, for instance, transfer that to my subject matter expert who will handle it. And while I do that, then I can put in the reason code for this call. And then, of course, I can retrieve the next call waiting in line. So then the call comes back. And I have information about, of course, where the call came from and the phone number. Should I then have the requirement to search for either a person, and there might be a person, for instance, that has competencies around, could, for instance, be Spring, which we are closing up on, then I could add that skill and apply it. And then, of course, when I close it, then I know that if I search for Spring, then my subject matter expert on that will appear. And should I then want to transfer the call to him, then I just press enter, and then actually they are on the way speaking to each other. So This takes me now from the end user application to the more supervisor and optimizing of the customer service, bringing me over to some of the web applications that we have available for the cloud. And in this case, it's the Competella Quality Monitor. So what this gives you is a real-time overview of both, of course, of the queue situation, how many calls are waiting in line. It gives you an overview of how many agents are available. And then it gives you some accumulated data of the day. So, for instance, what are the answering rates? How's the average waiting time looking? How many available agents do I have currently? How many are busy, and so on. And the good thing about it is that it's very easy to configure. So should I, for instance, instead of 5 queues that I'm looking at right now, only would like to see 3 queues, then I can do that. And would I like to add more metrics into that, then that's also very, very easy as an administrator. So then when I've done that, then it's actually ready to go, and then it updates with the new metrics that I can then see. So easy does it. Should I then, of course, to show you how real time it is, change the status of my other agents, and then I could do that to see how many agents are suddenly now available. So for instance, in the help desk DK queue, now we have 2 agents available. So this is real-time information about the service level that can be used, of course, for the management of the operation of the contact center that you are handling. Moving into the deeper statistics parts now, what I'm have entered into is the Competella management tools. Then what we could have a look at, for instance, are the conversation log. So the conversation log is an area where you have an overview of all the calls that are handled in the queue. It gives you furthermore information, for instance, on these category codes or the wrap-up codes that I just added to some of these calls. So this gives you, again, ability to understand what subjects are your agents working with during the day. And if you have many repeating of the same subjects, maybe it's time to think about, should you inform your customers or the users that you are handling in your contact center or help desk with some updated information, so that you streamline how many people that you actually require to be on the different rotas for your contact center. Another thing is, of course, that that the world is not static. So if you need new conversation log categories, then of course it's easy to add them here through the management portal, and you just select also if it's for specific queues or if it's a global category name that you add. Moving on, for those who have the requirement to go deeper into the material, meaning following the calls basically from cradle to grave, we have the called distributor logs. This is where you are able to see complete data, set of data of all customers that have been calling in through a Competella queue, or from all agents that have called out through a Competella agent application. So the example could be that you, for instance, have a customer that is complaining. Then you put in the number, fill in the number of that particular customer, and maybe a given period of time, and then you refresh it, and then you find the particular timestamp of when the customer called and what the complaint was about. And then you go into the events the call, meaning here this is where you follow the calls from cradle to grave and are able to see who was involved in them, how long was the call in the queue, if the call was transferred first to one agent, offered to one agent, and then offered to the next, and so on. Then you will be able to follow the history here. And should the call also have been transferred to a colleague, in, for instance, this subject matter expert, then you will be able to follow this also in here, and then of course do the personal follow-up after that. Statistics is also an integrated part when you buy a contact center from Competella. So this is where you have the reports that you use to do the planning of your road tests. So if you for instance, select this report where we are looking at, this is one particular queue. I don't want that. I would like to see it actually for all queues that are in the system. So then I will draw out data actually for quite a long time. I can see more than a year. So let's see how much there is. Then it shows in this table how many calls were there during the different hours in the day, how many was answered, how many was abandoned, how many agents did we have logged in during this time range. Of course, looking at the number of abandoned calls and so on, then if you draw a report like this, you should not take it for a full year. You should maybe do it on a daily basis or on a weekly basis or monthly basis. It does not make sense to do it on during a year. Furthermore, should you have the requirement to add further metrics, then you are able to do so in the metrics selector. So you can refine your report and tune it into and the analyzation that you would like to do with it. And when you have designed your reports, then what is good to know is that should you like that, then you have the ability also to plan to send these reports out on a recurring basis with the Competella solution. So this was statistics at a glance, or rather as an introduction. I will now move over to the PowerPoint presentation. So to enhance this 360-degree overview and the documentation, we have also with the Competella solution made an integration to the Teams compliance recording API. And basically it means that you can, as an add-on for the Competella solution, get compliance recording enabled on your queues. It can be inbound calls, outbound calls. It could be on-demand recording. And of course, in these privacy and GDPR times, it's very important that you actually are able to, as a standard with our solution, to get the customer consent so that they're able to understand the calls are being recorded and can select if they would like it to be so or not. Should a customer come afterwards and say, I would like to get all conversations deleted from your contact center, then of course you can search based on the A number and find those recordings. And then of course, if you have the access privileges to do so, then you can of course delete the recordings also. Furthermore, enhancing the 360-degree overview and also making the routing even more intelligent, we have the CRM Integration Gateway. Currently, it is a standard turnkey solution for specifically Salesforce and Microsoft Dynamics. So it's very fast and easy to set up this integration towards the Competella solution. What it does when a call is in the queue, then it can retrieve data from the CRM system and show, for instance, the name in the Competella application so that you know who you are talking to already when you answer the call. Furthermore, it can do CRM based both routing and also prioritization. So would you like to do some VIP prioritization, then that's possible. Or if you, for instance, have customers who are having problems to pay, then if you're updating your CRM system with that data frequently, then you could, of course, instead of routing calls to your sales department, then you could route them directly to the finance department so that you can get a good control of that matter. And finally, of course, when you answer the call, the Competella CRM Integration Gateway invokes or does a screen pop-up of the CRM application and shows the contact card of the caller. So how is it then with the Competella solution? Is it something that's not moving ahead, or is it something that is completely flying off with new releases all the time? Well, first of all, I would say that we have had since we have released the cloud solution, we have had new releases every 3 to 5 months. So we have actually had quite a fast pace with that. So to mention a few of the stuff that have been released are, of course, the queue callback, also a popular feature for the contact center, so that customers do not need to waste their time waiting in the queue, but can be called back when it's their turn. It's also, of course, about some of the integrations that we have done to third parties. Of course, the CRM Integration Gateway that I just mentioned, but another could be support for Brilliant, which is a customer survey company where the Competella solution forwards data to Brilliant, who then sends out a survey either through an SMS or actually an outgoing call, and then you can get a customer survey implemented with that. We have also released our improved and faster call handling lately, so it gives a much better experience also for the agent when they use the solution together with Teams. So what's on the way here in the short run? Well, we are following, of course, Microsoft, and by that we are updating the calendar and send email support from the Competella solution to the Graph interface. So it's a new API that we're using, which is even more secure than the previous solution. And the same goes for the Azure AD synchronization, which will be using a technology called SCIM. So this will speed up also the synchronization and give customers a better control of what they actually synchronize to their Competella tenants. What then is on the way is, for instance, our mobile presence for Teams. It's an operator-based presence that we will also federate directly to Teams. We have support for one admin account to handle and support multiple tenants. So that's very important for our system integrators who resell our solutions and implement them. And now we'll soon have also statistics, standard reports that will basically, take the 90% of all the reports that customers typically need. They can actually get as templates with our solution, and then the remaining 10% you can do those yourself, or can get help through our professional services or the partners' professional services. And then, of course, adding even more omni-channel to the Competella Contact Centers with chat and mail. We're looking forward to that. The Competella solution is integrated through the Extend model. It basically means that we have a very tight integration to Teams. There are other integration models available, which are loose integrations. The advantage with the tight integration, also called the Extend model, is that we support all telephone lines connectivity that you can get for Teams. So that is Microsoft Direct Routing with your own SBC or just Direct Routing. It's Microsoft Calling Plan and it's Operator Connect. And for those customers who need to mix and match this, having maybe all three options in their Teams environment, we also support that. So setting up a Competella solution is very fast because it's basically a trust between your Azure tenant and the Competella tenant that we create for you. And all you need to do is to register 5 apps where we get the credentials for those. And those are then, of course, having a secure connection. The other advantage of the way that Competella integrate is that we are keeping the calls inside Microsoft Teams. We are not sending them into any obscure data center and then returning them to Teams. They stay inside Teams, and then we, through a bot, are actually doing the announcements and IVR and so on. So that takes us to what are then some of the benefits with the Competella Contact Center solution. And it is that it's quite easy also to get on board and get going with our automated onboarding. The agents has a 360-degree overview, so a good overview of agents, queues, contacts waiting in line. We have customer journey with it, including wrap-up codes and CRM integration for those who require that. And then, of course, a good overview of internal resources and subject matter experts with, for instance, Teams presence or Microsoft Exchange calendar presence. We have statistics available so that you have a possibility to analyze and plan. We have logs so that you can drill down and understand the caller history. And then we have these conversation log subject tags, these wrap-up codes, to try to identify trends of the subjects your agents are speaking to your customers about. Any questions to this?
Yes, we are 2 minutes over 3. So if somebody needs to leave, somebody has left, but we take the questions now. So we have some questions. The first one is actually a question. The call history for the incoming call, is that only calls to Competella or all calls to from that Teams tenant?
The call history, the call log that I showed in the agent, that is all calls to the queues that are on that particular tenant for the agent that is a part of these queues. So an agent that are part of queue A, B, C will see all incoming call information about all numbers that have been dialing in, including wrap-up codes and notes that have been made on those calls. So yes, so all inbound calls and all outbound calls made from Competella Contact Center Enterprise Agent Client. Yeah.
Yes, I think that was the question because that question was actually as we had the demonstration. So, and
okay,
then
great.
The next one. Does the Competella integrate with ConnectWise?
ConnectWise.
Yes.
That's a good question. I should probably know what ConnectWise is.
We can come back to that otherwise.
Yeah,
Lars.
we can do that. Yes.
Okay, and then we have another question. Does Competella support Exchange hybrid with Exchange on premises? Contact integration ?
Contact integration. Well, when we integrate to Microsoft Exchange, what we are capable of are to synchronize, for instance, the calendars of the users who are homed in Office 365. We can also send emails and so on. But the question is, of course, what are meant with this. But we will come back to this particular question with contacts.
Okay. Yes. I think somebody just mentioned here, it loves the coming integration of email with Graph API. Okay. Is it possible to have the conversation log turned off and just use it when needed to?
Yeah, you can turn off the conversation log in terms of that you are not prompted for these wrap-up codes. Yes, that is a possibility.
Okay. I think that actually was all the questions. So
Okay. All right.
yes,
Great. Well,
great.
then, okay. So we will, of course, be very thankful if you would help us improve our webinars. So all the feedback that you can give us in the survey that Sophia have sent out in the chat would be very much appreciated. So thank you so much for that. And if you would like to know more about our attendant console solution, we have the next introduction session on the 26th of April. So either you can sign up directly in the survey, or you can go to our website or write to your local Competella representative. And here we have, of course, an overview of the contacts. You are most welcome to contact us.
Yes. And I think in the reminder, I actually think I copied everybody in there. So you have the emails to them in the email that I sent out today.
Fantastic.
So,
Fantastic.
yes. So please fill in the survey. And if you have any further questions, you can contact us. And I would like to thank everybody who was here. And I will send out the recording afterwards to everybody.
Fantastic. So thank you very much for attending, and we wish you a magnificent spring day.
Yes, we do. Okay. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.